Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport. Yes, I'm back. I wasn't going to let these boys take it away from me. I'm back. I'm refreshed and ready to go. And I'm joined by Seb True and Joe Stanley. And the first topic since we were last together has got to be what happened last week, and that is the tragic news that Diego Maradona has passed away at the age of 60. Arguably, probably the greatest footballer that has ever played the game has sadly passed away last week. And, so many tributes have come in. He's all sorts of footballers, every sport and athlete you can think of have posted on Instagram to send their wishes to Diego Maradona's family. And, of course, there's been 3 days of mourning in Argentina, and it's been absolutely crazy over there, which just shows what a figure he was in South America and the world, of course. Diego Maradona. He's known for the hand of God. He's known for that second goal against England, which is one of the best goals we ever saw in football, and all sorts of other things, controversial things, all sorts. What a character. He certainly lived the life. Seb, let's start off with you. Diego Maradona, he's gone. There's no more of him, but it's such a sad way how it's ended, really. You know, in a way, it kind of killed him at the end, all the alcohol, the drugs, all sorts of things that he got into after he finished playing football. 60 is no age, is it?
No, 60 is not even retirement age for most people in a standard day-to-day job. So, I mean, it's still young, and he's only just turned 60 in the past month or so. And he did have his health conditions. He lost out when he stopped playing, and it was sad to see him leave the game in such a way in '94 when he failed that drug test. That was really the last that's really where it went downhill, and it is a shame because he was brilliant. He was just brilliant. And even when you see, I remember the just watching, because we were all too young to have seen him on TV in the actual moment. We just look back at it, but when he does that warm up and he's just juggling about, and that's his warm up, and that's just basically what Maradona was. It's just, I'm having fun and doing it with a smile, and it's a shame to see it become so destructive, I'd say. But yeah, what a play. There's no denying it. When I watch back 86 World Cup clips, no one can name any other player in that Argentina squad. And when you see him setting up the others for chances and they kept missing, just took it into his own hands after a while and thought, I've got to do this on my own. And he did, and he won that World Cup on his own. And against a very solid side of Germany in the end, the likes of Franz Beckenbauer, even if they weren't that great, Germany in that World Cup, Maradona still went and beat them. He's one of the best of all time.
Joe, Diego Maradona, as Seb mentioned there, World Cup winner in 1986. He lifted the trophy. Some Argentinians like Lionel Messi haven't done that yet, even though they argue that he's the best player that football has ever seen. But Maradona's done it. I mean, it's funny, isn't it, Joe? I mean, us three here as we speak, we weren't even born when Maradona was at his best. But it doesn't matter, does it? It just shows that in the history of football, Maradona is probably the biggest name in football.
He's a generational talent. It doesn't matter that we weren't alive when he played. He was truly quality, and those players stand out time and time again and will stand the test of time. I think, like I said, he was a genius on the football pitch, but sadly, he had his demons, and obviously the drink and the drugs and etc. all caught up with him. But he even, as a manager, he never came to Europe to manage, but in South America, he was still considered a top manager, and he managed the Argentinian side at 2010 World Cup, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah.
And he was a quality player. I think there's just so many moments that you can think of when you hear Diego Maradona. Obviously, people go about the hand of God all the time in England, and obviously cheating's cheating, but still the way he did it, there's just something. I don't know. There's just something about it, the way. I think it's because it was him, and the fact that he scored that second goal where he just went on the run from his own half and took it past multiple players, put the ball in net. There's always going to be, I think with Diego Maradona, you'll always think of the two sides of him, but mainly you'll think about what a legend of the game he was. And I think with Napoli potentially renaming their stadium, that's a fitting a tribute. Sorry, if I can get my words out.
It's mad as well, though, Seb, because my whole Instagram was completely full. Every picture after picture after picture scrolling down was Maradona with either the World Cup or with, a famous athlete like Usain Bolt or Rio Ferdinand. There were so many tributes come in. I don't think I've ever seen another sports star like that get so much attention just moments after his death, which just shows even when he wasn't a footballer, he did go around the world. He did, go and visit a lot of clubs. I don't know if he was there to just do a quick speech to players, share his advice about what it's like to win, etc. But it just shows, those are the good parts about Maradona. Like, we can't forget that.
Yeah, I was going to mention Maradona's time at Napoli as one of those key moments in his career, not just because, we can all criticize Pele for the way he never came to Europe, blah, blah, but when Maradona came to Napoli, it was just, it changed the whole idea of a South American coming to Europe, and I just love it. Napoli never won the league before he came, and then he won 2 while he was there in the 3 or so seasons. He's a legend of the game, and even when I was just looking through that Napoli side that they had in 1987, none of them barely even played for their national team. They did finish 2nd or 8th in years before the title victory that they had, but he was their top scorer in the season that they first won the title, and the other season when they won the title. And he completely changed that Napoli team forever, even if those were his only titles. And he also won the UEFA Cup, let's not forget.
Yes.
So yeah, he did it in South America, then came over to Europe and did it, and just fantastic, just brilliant. I love him watching back now.
Absolutely.
Sorry?
And the world stage, as we've already mentioned, especially at the Azteca. But Joe, look, I guess we've got to mention it. I'm sure everyone here's opinions probably same or different, but me, I prefer to say it's about certain generations. You can't compare different generations, but is Diego Maradona the greatest footballer we'd ever seen?
That's a pretty hard question to answer. I think he was definitely the best of his generation, and obviously there's 4 players that are the top, best players. But you can think everyone can say could probably play in any generation of football. You've got Pele, Maradona, Messi, and Ronaldo. Those 4, you could say, could play at any era of football. Whether he's the greatest player of all time, I don't know. I think Messi for me, but that means no disrespect to Maradona, because if you look back, you think about it, Messi is playing on football pitches that are in pristine condition, and footballers train, the training style of football and stuff like that. When Maradona played, the pitches were blinking bumpy as heck, and they weren't treated that well. The training wasn't up to the standards that it is now. The facilities weren't. Heck, he probably went out, and if it's anything like when I spoke to a few ex-footballers from the 70s and 80s, they said they used to, before going on the pitch, they used to have roast dinner about an hour before kick-off, and then go out on the pitch. You don't get that now. So you think about it, the fact that he was able to do it on pitches that weren't good enough, and on the diets and stuff that they don't have in place. Imagine what you'd be like if in football nowadays, with the pristine pitches and the pristine, the dietary and all the advances in technology they've got nowadays. It'd be unstoppable.
Okay, well, that's if he'd follow through with it with his alcohol and drug problems, but we'll never know.
Yeah, it's a good point, but even just saying is he one of the best of all time, or trying to make some sort of ranking, probably is a bit. It might be disrespectful to what football players are. I think it's even disrespectful to Messi and Ronaldo trying to say one's better than the other. I'm not a big fan of the conversation of saying best of all time, so that's just my opinion on it. And yeah, Joe makes a good point about it's all different, isn't it? There's one video that where Maradona is just kicking about in Naples one day, and it's all muddy. He's covered in mud, and he's just taking shots at the goalkeeper, and you could just see he's a class above, but the pitches aren't like they were. They are now better than they were then. The ball was heavier.
Do you think
everything's different?
Do you think? I know there's probably a pointless debate, but would people like Messi and Ronaldo actually cope on those pitches?
Well, there's not only the pitches, but I'd argue that it's probably harder to defend now than it is before, considering how strict the rules of the game are. This is just a side note, but imagine if you weren't allowed to throw your body. Well, nowadays you're not basically allowed to touch anyone because they'll fall over easily.
Yeah.
So would Maradona have had it easier in that day? Maybe if the rules were as they are today, and maybe been able to fly through defenders with a lot more ease. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but
And
it's
VAR
really
would have
hard to
stopped
say,
the
isn't it?
goal. You know, they had the
Yeah,
guard.
as well. But we can have thousands of different hypothetical situations and just appreciate the player that he was, and also the lively character he was. I mean, maybe his image went downhill from his managerial career, his drug and alcohol problem, but he was still a lively character, and that resonated on the pitch.
He certainly lived life to the fullest. But before we go, of course, our condolences to Diego Maradona and the family. And of course, we send our wishes as part of Let's Talk Sport. But I do have one message. Diego Maradona, you cheating bastard. But still, that second goal was quite incredible.
I'm not allowed you to finish a video like that, Jamie. I'm not allowed you. I'm not having
English
it.
fan over
I'm not
here,
having
England
it.
fan over here. Peter Shilton actually tweeted the other day and said he never got that apology. And thinking, Peter, let it go.
It's
It's
ambitious
over,
to think that someone who's 5'5" could head the ball above Peter Shilton's hands.
Absolutely amazing.